Hello, and welcome to another edition of Open the Book. My name's Neil Jones, and it's my turn to read today's story. The story's called Jesus and the Taxman. Do you know what taxes are? Taxes are money grown-ups have to give to the government to pay for things like roads and hospitals and schools. It was the same in the time of Jesus, except that the people who collected the money, the tax collectors, always took a little bit extra for themselves. Just imagine if you went to pay your taxes and the tax collector said, "That's £2.50 for the taxes and then another 50p extra to help pay for my big new car." You wouldn't like it one bit. Today we have a story about a taxman who nobody liked. But he made a surprising choice, which changed his life forever. But before we hear the story, let's do the wrap. In fact, let's open the book. Are you ready? Let's open the book. Let's take a look. Let's listen and see how good God can be. Oh, let's take a look. Let's open the book. Were you there? Well, we'll go a bit quicker this time, but perhaps not too loud. Are you ready? Let's open the book. Let's take a look. Let's listen and see how good God can be. Oh, let's take a look. Let's open the book. It is a book, so I have to turn her aside and get it. So Jesus and the taxman. Jesus is coming, somebody shouted. Jesus is coming to Jericho, and everyone ran to meet him. Well, almost everybody, for there was one man, one wee little man, who did not run to meet Jesus. His name was Zacharias. It's not that Zacharias didn't want to see Jesus. He did. He really did. But not only was Zacharias short, he was also afraid of the crowd. Not many people liked him. You see, partly because he was a tax collector, but mostly because he collected more taxes than he was supposed to, and kept what was left for himself. "Jesus is here," somebody shouted. "Jesus is here in Jericho." And everyone cheered as he walked through the city gates. Well, almost everybody, for Zacharias did not feel like cheering at all. He wanted to see Jesus, he really did. But how could he walk out there in front of all those people he'd cheated? And what would they do if they got hold of him? Then Zacharias had an idea. There were trees by the city gates, tall, leafy trees. If he could sneak behind the crowd and climb one of those trees, he could see Jesus and not be seen himself. So off he went, out of his house and through the empty streets. And because the crowd was watching Jesus, he had no trouble at all slipping behind them and shinning up the tree. "Come, eat at my house," somebody shouted. "Come eat at my house, Jesus." And because it was a great honour to host someone as important as Jesus, everybody shouted at once. Well, almost everybody, for there was one little man, one wee little man, who kept his mouth shut and tried hard not to rustle the branches. "Thank you very much," said Jesus. "You are very kind, but I have already decided where I will eat my dinner." Then Jesus looked straight at the tree and called, "Zacharias, Zacharias, come down. I'm eating at your house today." "Zacharias!" somebody shouted. "Jesus is eating with Zacharias. He's the worst man in town. There must be some mistake." And everybody moaned and groaned. Well, almost everybody. One man, one wee little man, climbed down from the tree, as shocked as the rest. Why would somebody as good as Jesus want to eat with somebody bad like him? But he was happy to, happier than he had been for a long, long time. And so, with a smile spreading across his face, Zacharias led Jesus to his house. "What are they saying?" somebody whispered. "What are they doing in there?" And everybody gathered around the taxman's door. That's when Zacharias threw open his door with a bang. "Greetings, everybody," he said. "I have an announcement to make. I've been talking with my new friend Jesus and realized that there are a few things I need to change. I've cheated some of you, I admit that, and I want you to know that I'm sorry. So sorry, in fact, that I will pay you back 4 times more than I stole from you. That's more. What's more, I intend to sell half of what I own and give the money to the poor." The crowd was shocked. Never in their whole lives had they seen anyone change like that. They stood there with their mouths wide open, and nobody said a thing. Well, almost nobody. "Don't you see," said Jesus to the crowd, "God has sent me to share his love with everybody, even those who have done some very bad things. That's what I have done. And now Zacharias loves God too." That's when the crowd began to cheer Jesus and Zacharias and the whole town of Jericho. Everybody. As soon as Zacharias realized that God loved him, even though he had done wrong things, he knew he had to change the way he lived and put things right with his neighbours. Close your eyes and think about whether there are things you do that hurt others. Can you be like Zacharias and change the way you live? Now, I'm going to say a prayer, and if you want to make it your prayer, say Amen at the end after me. Dear God, if there is anything in our lives that needs to change, please help us so we choose what is good, choose what is right, choose what is true. Amen. Goodbye.